Conspiracy theory drop. Conan, Letterman, Carson, Fallon, Ferguson, Corden, Taylor Tomlinson, Conan O'Brien. Huh? Fuck it. Joe Rogan.
Hey, Segovia,
Mark
back with
May.
another video. Happy Saturday, y'all. Hope everyone out there's having a good day. Got a late start. Slept in a little bit. First time in a long time I slept in. And boy, did I pick the wrong day to sleep in. I got a lot to do, y'all. So we ain't going to do too much talking today. I'm going to let the video play, put my 2 cents in, hit my jabs, and keep it moving, y'all. But enough with the chit chat. Let's do what we all came here for. Let's get into the video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
So they sucked up all of the independent artists first, gave us more money than we ever seen before. But what that is to them is a tax write-off, right? Because they make sure in most cases that we fail. And then the other rappers who were like me, unlike, you know what I'm saying, if let's say Manny Fresh decided that he wanted to leave, right? I don't have that problem because I produce also. If Baby decided to leave, then they don't have to worry about that because I run my business. I understand my business. If Wayne decided to leave, well, they rapper left, or Juvie decided to leave, or BG decided to leave. Well, I do the rappers. I do the rapping. So what ended up happening is after they gave all this money and we thought we had all of this money. And then the first thing that you all know, I didn't understand this. What, 45% of it is gone just in taxes. Then you catching up for all of the borrowing that you did and not having, or getting your first house and car, getting your mom straight. What, CeeLo Green said that money be gone. So they did that. That was easy. Then watch what they did. I myself got a $70,000 check from Southwest Distribution. We didn't need the majors. We had Gonzalez. We had Southwest. We had distribution companies, real solid distribution companies. They soaked them up and bought them out. Then guess what they did? Black people learned how to get mom and pop stores. Even though a lot of them was burning CDs in the back and bootlegging. But we actually learned how to press CDs.
This is a fact.
Right? In
our own homes.
Then they sucked up the mom and pop stores. I don't know if y'all remember when they would put the feds started going to the mom and pop stores like they were selling drugs, bro. Right? So then they sucked up the mom and pop stores. Then after they sucked up the mom and pop stores, then they went for the major stores.
Sam Goody.
Bro, we at Virgin, all we got to do is say the Virgin Megastore. Bro, like the Virgin Megastore was one of the few times besides walking into a strip club where I think I slightly had an orgasm when I was walking to the store. I really loved hip hop. I really loved it. I really thought it was this real thing, bro. Bro, and I peeped what they did to the game, bro. And then we were okay with streaming after that. Bro, it's just like, bro, we are addicted to following our oppressors. No matter how they treat us, no matter how bad they do us, we run behind them, bro.
What the hell was that? Go back, look at that video, look at the water. What the hell was that?
So I'm out here looking, doing a search and rescue kind of thing. Oh wow, how did you see that one? Damn. Look at that guy. There's one right there, and there's one on this other side. What a fucking trip, right? I'm just walking here and I didn't even just walk past this motherfucker. I didn't even see this guy. That is fucking cool shit. Any more else down here? That's fucking cool.
And how many people die from mosquitoes every year? And it's going to say, and I'm reading verbatim from Google, it says, mosquitoes cause more human suffering than any organism. All right, y'all ain't know this. Motherfuckers scared of lions, sharks, bears, tigers. They make you be scared of all this shit that you'll never probably encounter a day in your life. Just to get you away from the one thing that's designed to not only to fuck you up. Because mosquitoes not only watch you, but they plant nanotechnology within you. All right? And then now the new mosquitoes are carrying the vaccine. All right? So this is why when they came out with the article with Bill Gates, they already had these mosquitoes out. All right? So these new mosquitoes are actually carrying the vaccine. This is why I really want to make you aware of. All right, these new mosquitoes are actually carrying the vaccine because these mosquitoes are man-made. They have always been man-made. All right, if you look into mosquitoes, all right, if you go look into mosquitoes and research more about them, you just research about the anatomy of their body, their molecular structure, everything. You'll see, and compared to other insects, and you'll see a lot like, whoa, hold on. It's a lot of weird shit going on. That, you know what I'm saying? All right, mosquitoes. Right here verbatim, it says, I'm on Google, how many people die from mosquitoes every year? That's the question y'all can type in Google. And it says mosquitoes cause more human suffering than any other organism. Over 1 million people worldwide die. All right, we know death not real, but leave their avatar. Okay, over 1 million people worldwide die, leave their avatar from mosquitoes-borne diseases every year. Not only can mosquitoes carry diseases that affect you, but they...
You won't believe what Iceland is trying to do with their lava. They call it lava forming, and they have the ambitious plan to build entire cities out of it, giving it the most dystopian aesthetic I've ever seen. But hear me out. It's actually not as crazy as it sounds. You see, Iceland is one of the most active volcanic regions in the world. And when they had those massive eruptions of 2023, looking at the enormous amount of material rising to the surface, the head of a firm called SAP Architar said, holy, we could build a whole city in 1 week with all of that. And to be fair to her, lava is pretty damn amazing because it already naturally has all of the materialities that concrete does, but crucially without the massive CO2 footprint. So currently the project has 3 speculative ideas on how to build, I don't know, lava land. The first method would be, instead of waiting for the eruptions, they drill down to reach the underground magma and then channel it into molds where it cools and solidifies into blocks, beams, and panels. Method 2 gets a little more complicated, but they'll dig precise trenches around active volcanoes, which, once it erupts, they would channel the lava into the foundations and walls of an entire city, which would simultaneously protect it from future eruptions. And then the third and most forward-thinking of the 3 methods would be to harness the technology of robotics and 3D printing. So envision a whole fleet of these future robots capable of walking across hot lava fields and then scoop up and use the lava as ink, if you will, to then 3D print buildings layer by layer. Okay, that one is just as crazy as it sounds. But the question is, which one would we see first? Iceland's lava land or Saudi's the line? Or neither?
So then we told them there is no client list.
Sergeant Cornelius, are you sure this will turn the frogs gay?
Of course. They'll never see it coming.
You'll never believe it. Some of them are still wearing masks.
Idiots. And then we told them to drink soybeans instead of milk, and they did it.
I guess they wanted to repair the city's bridge, but we needed to send more bombs to Ukraine.
There they are. Look at that. And a yogurt.
Excuse me, sir. How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Good.
Look,
I'm
y'all,
getting a
so
frozen
apparently,
yogurt.
right, I'm headed into this Burger King in Florida, right? Now, mind you, y'all, when we go in Burger King, look what this is. Look at this. Oh, okay. So you gotta order at the kiosk at Burger King, yeah. Look at this. Okay.
Y'all feel dirty as hell too when you go touch those things.
So nobody's here. You gotta pick your order up from here. Okay. Okay. You don't deal with anyone here. You just order your food and pick it up at a Burger
Sucks.
King.
DoorDashers.
Why is nobody talking about what's happening in Memphis, Tennessee right now? Everybody should be talking about this. If you didn't know by now, Elon Musk, XAI, got its permit for methane gas generators. XAI is in the industrial zone in Memphis, which is surrounded by several neighborhoods where residents have reportedly long dealt with pollution. Do keep in mind the area is historically black, okay? And has higher rates of respiratory diseases and asthma, a lower life expectancy than other parts of. Studies have shown that these neighborhoods also have a cancer risk 4 times higher than the national average. So now, with the worry of pollution coming out of XAI, along with its proximity to black neighborhoods, the NAACP civil rights group has now become involved. And of course, it has initiated a lawsuit against XAI, but here's the thing. XAI is being accused of operating at least 35 gas turbines without obtaining the necessary permits under the Clean Air Act. But the new permit from the health department allows XAI to operate 15 turbines with pollution control technology until 2027. Now, I've seen the images, and I'm sure many of you have as well, and I'm just going to say, well, I know how to count. This is definitely something that so many other people should be talking about right now.
The universe exists in the mind of man. That's the black dot, the universe beat. Anything that you see they talk about in comic books or on science fiction and fantasy movies and different things that you call supernatural or superficial, you used to could do with just thought. So now what happened is this earth fell into a lower density sphere. And the vibratory rate slowly went down to its lowest point. Deeper we fell into degeneration. So therefore, you couldn't do the same thing that you used to could do a couple of thousand years ago or a couple of million years ago. Cosmic ability to do what you want to do, whereas you didn't need so much of the physical because it was all inside of you. If you want to go to other planets, you could do that. If you can live up under the water, you can live up under the earth, you can do anything, you didn't have to eat, you could have sex on the astral planes, anything you wanted to think of in your mind, you used to could do that. And that's what we're going back to now.
President Trump has now responded through a surrogate, Bill O'Reilly, to the Jeffrey Epstein case whitewash cover-up firestorm, now in its 4th day engulfing the internet and threatening the very future of MAGA. But finally, Trump has responded. We're about to break it down. Since Monday, we've been asking for it, and now we've gotten the answer from Bill O'Reilly, close confidant of President Trump. We know that it's bigger than just an Epstein list. There's the videos, there's the 14 terabytes that Trump's FBI raided back in March that the Democrats were hiding in New York at the FBI offices. So it's a red herring to say, oh, it's a client list. Obviously, it's a lot bigger than just a client list. They don't call it a client list. It's a whole spectrum of videos and notes and files that Epstein had in his intelligence agency blackmail operation. So we were simply saying, hey, you said this was there. It was reported this was there. And now you're saying it doesn't exist. That's what people got so upset. But going back to an interview over a year ago with Lex Friedman and Trump, he says, yeah, I'll release 9/11, I'll release JFK, I'll release MLK, I'll release it all. But I'm not sure about Epstein because that might implicate innocent people. Well, obviously, Epstein was involved with a whole bunch of people in business and everything else that weren't involved in molesting underage girls. So I had said in the last few days, that's probably what this is they just say a list of whoever knew Epstein. We don't want to release that publicly because they're not all guilty. Well, that makes sense. But you can't conflate that with the 14 terabytes that the AG, Pam Bondi, said shows a bunch of kids, hundreds of new victims being raped. So that's 2 separate issues. So clearly the way this has been presented to Trump is, hey, here's a list of all of Epstein's associates. A bunch of innocent people are in this. Should we release it? He goes, well, no, we shouldn't do that. They deserve due process. Well, everybody does. That is different than all the hard drives grabbed at Zorro Ranch in New Mexico and everything else in New York, Epstein Island, Little St. John's, all of it. So now we're getting answers on this. I'll show you the Bill O'Reilly clip. It just came out today. I'll show you the clip from last year with Lex Friedman. So Trump has had this limitedly brought to him and said, should we put all the names of these people that have due process and are innocent? He's like, well, no, a list of anybody he ever talked to on the phone shouldn't be. That makes sense. But all of the terabytes of child rape that Bondi says she has, that needs to be answered for, and I guess we got to have congressional hearings about that. But now we're understanding what's going on, and everybody, myself and others, have pointed at that original thing he said a year ago, and now this is a repeat, and I believe Bill O'Reilly. So now we've got some basic answers. We got to investigate from this ongoing. The investigation should stay open. This is not closed. Here's the clips.
I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye, on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be.
But a lot of big people went to that island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you were able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago. You know, they do that for danger, too, because, you know, it endangers certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing. But, yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
So we're not going to release it because we don't want people that didn't do nothing wrong to have their reputation tarnished. But the people that did something wrong, they're going to be able to keep going on and living without their reputation being tarnished. No comment. It's annoying though, man. It's annoying. Like, this is what we ran on. This is what he ran on. Once again, a politician. We fell for it. Took the bait. Took the bait. No one's got arrested. The people that did get fired are not the higher ups. They're the little puppies. Those are the ones that got fired, right? Not the big dogs. The employees that do what they're told are the ones that got fired, yo.
You can see it's good or not good. Shake a bottle. You can shake a bottle.
Look at this salesman.
You see?
Got all these people fooled right here to come up.
Extra ingredient. Water, chemical, or sugar. What about my alcohol?
About
you
mine.
shake a bottle.
Sold.
Make a tornado. You see? I'm clear. Oh. Look at.
About to sell out right now.
Again.
That's a hustler.
Tequila. Tequila.
Conspiracy theory drop. Conan, Letterman, Carson, Fallon, Ferguson, Corden, Taylor Tomlinson, Conan O'Brien. Huh? Fuck it. Joe Rogan, Mark Maron. You want to do the news? Don Lemon, Tucker Carlson. Wake up. Graham Norton across the pond, bro.
How do we explain this pristine, amazing work that's done on the Great Pyramid? I mean, this thing weighs 6 million tons.
I understand.
It's 481 feet high. It consists of 2.5 million individual blocks of stone. It's aligned to true north within 3/60ths of a single degree. What's more interesting is the radical decline that takes place in pyramid building skills in the 5th and 6th dynasty. These are a shambles. You can hardly even recognize them as a pyramid. What happened to all that knowledge? Why does Egypt devolve so rapidly?
Scientists have discovered that wisdom teeth contain stem cells, and not only that, but they're extremely high quality, and the stem cells extracted from wisdom teeth are like medical gold because they're able to treat multiple diseases. This is an unexpected outcome, but basically the additional stem cells come from the dental pulp, which is a little vascular pocket in the middle that keeps the tooth alive. It's all this, I'm going to zoom in if I can, it's all this soft tissue stuff here on the inside, the actual meat of your tooth, as it were, but the dental pulp contains a very, very large amount of valuable stem cells. Most importantly to the scientists, they were able to turn these pulp stem cells into electrically excitable neuron-like cells that could fire the voltage spikes that real neurons use to talk. So the stem cells from these wisdom teeth are especially useful at treating neurological disorders. They talk a lot of stuff here about Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and they want to encourage people to build personal biobanks. These scientists are positing that if you extract a wisdom teeth and freeze the pulp in the teeth within 24 hours, you can then unfreeze and create more stem cells from the pulp in your teeth, which can be used to treat a whole wide variety of health issues. And they're even positing that this could be a breakthrough in a variety of different therapies. So I think this is fantastic. It's a great idea, and it alleviates the ethical concern of harvesting stem cells. You've always worried about harvesting them from fetuses or from your own bone marrow or from people. Well, these stem cells are very powerful, and they come from something that you typically don't want in your body and would throw away. So I hope in the future we all get our own personal biobanks, except for me, because my wisdom teeth are already removed.
When I lived So that's the same thing. They're taking the wisdom teeth for stem cells. Has anyone had pain in their wisdom tooth to the point they had to pull it out? Mine were taken out before I had any pain. I just went to the dentist for a cleaning. They did the x-rays. I didn't have zero pain, y'all. They took all four out for no reason, right? Who knows if those would have came out, if they would have ever gave me pain. They just said in the future, we'll just do it now. That's like what we're seeing with these morgues, giving people different ashes and selling off their body part. It's the same thing. They're taking our teeth out of our body for the benefit of us in the future, so we don't have to do it later. We'll do it now when we're young, right? I was like 15 years old when they took mine out. My niece just got hers out. She's 17. I don't even think she had pain. Like, have you guys ever, anyone that had to get them taken out, was it because of pain? Or is it now they're starting to do it at a young age when we're young, going for a dental cleaning in the summertime when we're off of school, taking our wisdoms out and using them for stem cells, selling them?
I never went to the Empire State Building unless somebody came in town, because I could always do it. But then when they came in town, it's like, oh, they're here for a weekend. They go see the things. They go to the plays. They take full advantage of New York. And so I think kind of life is that way. A lot of people think like it's always going to be there. I'll always be able to go to Japan. I'll always be able to do X, Y, and Z. Later in life, these things are going to happen, right? And then they let their lives pass them by.
Ever notice? The Donald that is Mick will claim all beef patties, followed by 30% soy. How does that make sense?
The company that makes them is all beef patties.
That is really weird. I'm paddling currently through red water. Look at that. You can see in the splash. That water is red. That is wild. All right, so to the left is that Newark Asphalt Corporation. And I'm telling you right here, and we're paddling right through it.
I don't think that should be next to a lake, right?
I'm telling you, it looks like fruit punch. Canada Goose to the left. Really strong asphalt smell right now.
Polluting that nice river, y'all.
And this water is deep red. Canada geese in front of us. Let's see if they take off. There they go. Look at that. They're like splashing red water. Here are those abandoned buildings to the left. It's like they have a barbecue set up, tables, chairs. There's got to be people living up there. in these buildings. Some type of sewer straight in front of us. You can see that the water inside it is not red. It's red right on the edge here. You can see a defined line between the red and the water that's inside that sewer. So I'm really curious. Really curious.
They say Ford had decided to boost productivity as workers were expected to put more effort into their work in exchange for more leisure time. So what does that mean? Basically, originally, they required you to work more hours, all right? Originally, slaves were required to work sun up to sundown. But when they started creating these factories, they was already pushing us out of chain slavery, and they was pushing us into these new plantations called jobs, which Henry Ford was one of the leading productions in that, all right? All through Detroit, Michigan, and spread out throughout the country, all right? That's why the Midwest to this day has so many factories. You know what I'm saying? There's so many abandoned factories. Like Detroit was a factory town. General Electric and Ford, there were so many companies there. Ohio, Indiana, a lot of these places was like that. And then a lot of these jobs moved out. So that's why it's poverty stricken throughout the Midwest like it is now in certain cities. All right, but you have to understand that the whole reason Ford did this, the whole reason you work 8 hours a day now is because of Henry Ford, okay? The whole reason there's a work schedule is because of Henry Ford, all right? Because before it was that, you was working sun up to sundown. Even after they freed the slaves, niggas still had to work sun up to sundown just to get some kibbles and bits, all right? So when they wanted us, there was a mind fuck. They was trying to manipulate us to believe, or our ancestors into believing that it was change. So what better way to bring change than to say, hey, you don't have to go to work, but it's an option. So a lot of our ancestors started going to these factories. They're not going to tell you on Wikipedia that the majority of people that worked in the factories was black people. They just going to say workers.
Let's talk about this new crop circle that showed up in Dorset, UK yesterday.
Black Widow?
This is wild. There's no way that men with boards went out and did this in the middle of the night. This was yesterday. Today is July 11th. This showed up July 10th. Just look at these weave patterns in the crop circle. I don't even know how you could do that with a board. I'm sure you can do it with a board, but there's no way someone did this in a night.
Nah, he ain't doing that with a board.
It's incredible. So let's take a closer look. I think that all crop circles are, in a way, some sort of message. Even if they're human-made, there's a message in there. But I don't think that this is human-made. But at first glance, this thing looks like a spider. Why would a spider, but then you see these circles around there, and I don't know if you've ever tried to draw the flower of life, like a spirograph or whatever, but if you do enough of those circles, you get this thing called the flower of life. But this right here looks like a spider, 8 legs, and it looks like it has a head right there. But if you look at the body of it, an octopus also has 8 legs. I mean, from here, this looks like a spider. A tick has 8 legs. But if you count these little nozzles, if this is not the eyes right here, these are the eyes. A squid has 10 legs. But what is the message here? This looks, the face over here looks like those old masks that you see in tribes all over the world. This looks like a mask, but this obviously looks like a spider. Someone did this. Why? Why would someone do this? And it may not be a person. It may be those remember I've shown you videos before where it's like little orbs and little balls. It's like the Boogosphere flying over fields and hold on. Remember this video? The little spheres flying over and it's making the little patterns and things. But why would these spheres make something that looks like this? The circles. The circles all around it. What is this? Is this a mass? Is this saying like a spider species is here? Is this an octopus? Is it saying that it's gonna is this telling us about the oceans, or is this telling us about the spiders? I have no clue. This crop circle showed up yesterday It's incredible. Absolutely incredible, especially the weave pattern at the top of the head, or the, I guess, the base of the butt, depending on if it's a spider or not. But yeah, UK, Dorset, spider, crop circle.
Kid that just admitted after he got his diploma that he went through his entire senior year of school and didn't do a single piece of work. Single thing he turned in was AI. Now, what did he learn?
How to use AI.
That I can get away with this. Yeah. I don't have to put in any effort. I don't have to do anything, and I'm going to pass. What are you telling me? There's college kids that aren't sitting out there just banging AI and just
100%.
It's hard to talk about dimensions, but I was...
like I told you, the album Supertramp, it's called Breakfast in America in 1979, okay? And it's taken from a plane, if you want to see the cover, and it's from the inside of an airplane. And they show the World Trade Center, and on top of the World Trade Center is the word 9/11.
And what year is that?
1979. And 9/11 happened during Breakfast in America, 9 in the morning.
Like literally, you're right.
Yeah. You see it's from the inside of a plane. You see the person looking, you see in the airplane, the window?
Yes.
Now do inversion, right? Inversion. Watch. 9/11 on top of the Twin Towers.
S-U-P, U-M-P, yeah. It's like,
you see?
P inverted like 9, and you don't see the bottom, so it's
9/11.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm coming to you live from Tampa. Well, maybe not live, but hey, it's the best we're going to get because I'm not live streaming today. But as you guys know, some breaking news coming out. There's some talk about Dan Bongino, Deputy Director of the FBI, as well as Kash Patel, the Director of the FBI, stepping down from incompetence from Bondi. And basically, let me go ahead and explain kind of what's going on. As you guys know, Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire that was backed by Les Wexner, we all know that he was an asset for the Israeli government intelligence. And long story short, the files were supposed to be declassified. We're supposed to get the client list and all this other stuff. Never came out, and the DOJ sent out a sparse letter basically saying something along the lines of, oh, hey, nothing to see here, no client list, and he killed himself, right? Which we all know is bullshit, right? And it makes it even worse because a lot of the people from the Trump administration didn't believe the original story either. So for them to now be in positions of power, high levels of the Department of Justice and FBI, and to come out and say, oh yeah, nothing to see here, looks really bad. CNN's been beating up the Trump administration about this. ABC, all the liberal media have been, running with this and kind of saying like, look, MAGA had all these conspiracy theories. Now they're coming out and saying that there's nothing to see here. So this is really bad. Now, from the Bongino and Kash Patel perspective, this makes them look really bad because keep in mind, Bongino is a very respected podcaster in the conservative space. He said it himself that he wasn't going to let go of this Epstein case thing. So for the DOJ to release this letter, he feels as though they were kind of blindsided. Because just so you guys know, with the U.S. government, DOJ is here, FBI is here. And a lot of the times, the DOJ can do things without the FBI necessarily being involved or knowing. So if they release a letter saying, hey, we're kind of shutting this thing down, that could catch the FBI off guard. Now, the other thing I think that's also important for you guys to understand is that when it comes to this Epstein thing, let me be honest with y'all, we're never going to get it. And the reason why is because when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, there's going to be a criminal case, which we already know about with him and Ghislaine Maxwell, but there's also going to be a high side. And since he was an intelligence asset for a foreign government, I guarantee you there's probably going to be a bigger CIA file on him than an FBI file. And the reason why is because CIA focuses more on international intelligence and counterintelligence versus the FBI focuses on domestic. So the FBI just has one piece of the pie, but the reality is all the different components of the intel community are going to more than likely have a file on Epstein. And getting that stuff is extremely bureaucratic and painful. Trust me, I know, being a former government agent with a clearance. Now, that's not to absolve responsibility from the FBI or the DOJ, but I do think it's important for the American public to understand that the FBI is only going to have a piece of the pie. But they couldn't even bring their piece of the pie to the equation and declassify and show what was really going on. And this is just an L on the entire government. And the reality is, it took us, 60 plus years to get the JFK files?
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Made it this far. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. We cut it short, y'all. I got a lot to do. I got to clean up my old grill because I'm going to take it to Mama Bear's sisters. They're going to have it. So all I gotta do, we're gonna go to Sam's Club. We're gonna go have dinner at a steakhouse today. Too much to do, y'all. Actually, clean my pool. We got a pool out there. Super windy yesterday. That's the big thing I got to do. I got to clean that pool. Pool, grill, blow the yard out from the wind. Then we're going to go have dinner out at a little steakhouse, y'all. I'll try to remember to post a picture for you guys on my plate or something for the community, y'all. But anyways, I got to get going, y'all. Hope everyone out there had a good Saturday, because when you're watching this, it's going to be the evening. Hope you have a good Saturday evening. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow on Sunday for our banger, y'all. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the Man Cave. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.